Oh, there I am. It's like I don't see my face.
I'm still learning.
It's okay.
Yeah, I meant to put my earbuds in this time. I thought maybe that would make the audio a little better. But you listened and you thought it sounded good, our last
Yeah,
one.
I did.
Okay. Well, next time I'll continue experimenting and I'll put my earbuds in. And I noticed how you have like the hazy background. Maybe I should do that so we don't see this roll of toilet paper.
My office is so messy that I was like, oh, I'm embarrassed by it. At least you're just
Oh,
like a clean wall. I mean,
yeah,
but
that's funny. I wonder if I can, what, I
I
don't know. I don't want to
I
spend
did
a
it.
lot,
Yeah.
lot of time on it. Choose virtual background. I'll go ahead. We have a minute here.
I
Uh,
did like blur. That's what I did. I don't Mine had like
oh,
three dots and then I just choose blur my background. It was like right above virtual background.
oh, oh yeah, because this is saying, um, maybe I can't do that. I don't know. Because this is upgraded stuff. Mirror my video studio. I'm not even seeing blur as an option. I'm not. Now I just need to figure out how to close the thing.
Whoops.
Oh my gosh, there's like eyebrows as an
Oh my
option and a mustache and lip color. Okay, all right, enough of this. I will have to play with it later.
That's kind of funny.
That is funny. Okay, well, I think since I was 2 minutes late hopping on and now we've talked about this, I'm going to start our actual um, timer
All
and
right.
then we'll just hop right into the podcast because
Perfect.
there's stuff to talk about. So
All the things.
that's right. Okay, so timer. Let's see if we're already 5 and then 5 and it did not there it shows no mercy. So
No.
I'm gonna do 23 minutes and then that's gonna give us like 2 minutes to wrap up and okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, a pause and then hello and welcome to episode 4 of the PKC podcast. We have I'm thinking friend and rep all at once. What is that? Rend? Okay. Rep Emily is here with us and friend Emily. This is part 3 of a series we're doing on infertility and pregnancy loss. And she very transparently and openly shares all the details of this challenging journey. And so we're going to dive right in. I do want to ask you how your day was today at work.
Much better than yesterday's day.
Okay, good. And so maybe with that, we just dive into yesterday, whatever you'd like to share.
Yeah, so yesterday I had an appointment at the fertility clinic and they told me that I would be starting medications yesterday. Well, my medications had yet to ship to my house because we were waiting and then I was supposed to go on birth control and then they changed their mind over the weekend. And so I was like, but I don't have my medications. And the nurse said, well, that's okay. Just let them know they can give you what you need. So when I went yesterday, they were like, well, you don't have your medications. And I was like, I know because I was supposed to be on birth control. And I told them yesterday. And so it just like spiraled from there. I just, I already was nervous that I didn't have them. And the pharmacy was closed on Sunday. So I couldn't like get them to ship them sooner. And so I could like hear them talking about me outside the room. And then that it's just like, you just know they're talking about you. Nobody likes to be talked about, even if it's like good things. It's like,
Yeah.
So by the time I got into like into the next room for the ultrasound and the nurse came in and she was like, how's your day going? And I was like, not well. And then I just completely lost it. And she was like, it's okay. And then she was gonna like give me a hug. And she goes like, oh, I'm Jillian. I think that was her name. And I was like, I don't really care who you are at this point. Like, I will take the hug, So she's like, it's gonna be okay. And then she's like, do you live really far? Because I was explaining to her, I was like, no, I live like in Kenosha. I'm 30 minutes away. And so she was like very confused. And I was like, I was supposed to be on birth control. And so, anyways, um, my hubby took off work and he drove to the pharmacy in downtown Chicago and picked them up for me. So I was like, you are my literal lifesaver. And so then it was like everything was built up and I was like, you have to stop crying because you need to drive back to you have to drive to work. And then I had to like do a whole day of work knowing like we're gonna get the meds and like the pharmacy didn't open till 9. So I had to call them as soon as they opened to be like, don't ship them. Because then I would have had to pay twice. And so it was just very stressful. So I did my shot yesterday and it was not terrible, but like I was like having a major panic after the fact. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So I had to take them to work because I have to do them between a certain time. And I go to work at the time, it's like between 6 and 8. Well, I start work at 6. So I had to take them with me and do them at work and then put them in the fridge and put a note not to forget them. And so, yeah, it's just a lot.
Oh, Emily. Oh, my stomach. I'm on the verge of tears just empathetically. I'm pretty hormonal myself right now because you know what is coming
Yeah.
like any minute. And so like I could cry.
Yeah.
That sounds really hard.
And then also hormonal because of that same reason. So, like, it's just like, oh my God.
So that's my question around, of course, all of this is teetering on your cycle,
Yeah.
right? And so if your period starts and you don't have everything lined out in a certain way, then you have to wait until your next cycle and try
Right.
again. Is that right?
Right. And it was 53 days. So, like, we did not want to do that
No.
because I was like, yeah, now we're into like June ish, middle of June. So I was like, yeah, we can't do that. So
Oh,
he's a saint, and the weather was terrible and rainy and yesterday. And so I was like, I'm sorry, but thank
yeah,
you. So
yeah.
he said it was really easy to get everything, but it's just a lot. So now my office is transformed into like a shot station. So yeah.
That's nuts. So you
Yeah.
have so you have two shots today. You had one yesterday, two
Yep.
today.
Yep, I did one this morning. I have one tonight, and then same tomorrow. And then Thursday, I have another one in the morning, and I also go to the clinic for another appointment. So they bring you back in, they check your hormone levels, see how things are looking. They do an ultrasound, they check your ovaries, see how things are responding to the medication, and then they call you that afternoon and they adjust your medication. So they only gave me instructions through Thursday morning.
Wow.
So then, depending on how things are, it could be every couple days. When you get close, it could be every day. And it's early in the morning, So, and then I go to work afterwards. So it's like a long day.
That's an intense process. So walk me through best case scenario. So if say imagine this first round works and as fast as possible, what does that look like? Like how many days from now? Like what's next?
Yeah. So they say you could do take medication for like 8 to 16 days. So likely like a week and a half, maybe like a week and a half of shots, appointments, and then you'll do your egg retrieval, and then 5 days after that would do the the embryo transfer. That's like if everything lines up correctly and my body is all like good. Sometimes they can't do a fresh one because your body is like, you've been giving me all of these things and it's just the levels aren't where they need to be. So then they would have to freeze them. And I'm not exactly sure when you would do it after the fact, but
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay. So when you say a fresh one and you say retrieval, so you're taking the medication for 8 to 16 days. Then they go in and they're wanting to get that egg that's there and ready.
Yes.
Bring the egg out, fertilize the egg, turn the egg into an embryo, and then put the egg back so it can grow.
Yes.
And then you
hopefully implant.
Implant.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of people, they say like pregnant until proven otherwise, because you technically are, but you may not implant, and so it's interesting. That's what people say.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's there's just a lot. I having more and more empathy. I mean, I don't think I had any empathy before because we hadn't talked about it before, and this isn't my journey. So I'm learning it all, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a lot. So I just looked at the post. So currently Emily is our rep taking over the Pretty by Jail page. So that's been amazing. Thank you for doing that.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
A lot of work. I totally get why you want other people to do it, because it's like juggling.
It's so here's the thing I was trying, and this is like until people get in there and have this experience, and yeah, they don't get it. Just like Heather Indigo and Arrow is making silk bracelets now, and Rep Lisa too. So
Right.
now I'm getting this feedback too. Like Heather's like, my hands were cramping, I had to stop. Like all the respect for silk. I'm like, not that her hands are cramping, but like it's always neat when someone has perspective. Not that I was missing the perspective, not even with the reps, you guys maybe not fully understanding where I was coming from. It's just that then all of a sudden when that perspective is gained and you're able to share it, it's like, woohoo,
Right. Right.
But yeah, so that's where when I talk about it's either or for me. So if I'm on Pretty by Jail full time, then that gives me nothing to do any Jenny stuff on the ranch, like, and show you, yes, I will live my life, and yes, I will take a walk in the fields maybe, but like I'm not going to take pictures of it and show that because I only have X amount to give to social media. So anyway, yeah, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys doing it, and I think it's so fun. I think it's just bringing a whole new engagement element to the community. That's exactly what it's so much better than I ever dreamed of. So Emily's there this week, and by the time via podcast, that's probably not the case for people listening to this at some point later. But anyway, you posted yesterday to ask if anybody had any questions. So I saw some love and support, but I didn't see any questions.
I know.
So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, I'm nervous because I feel like I'm hormonal and I'm on the verge of crying, and just because and you're hormonal and you might cry too, right?
It's good.
But I want to ask my like elephant in the room question, and it's not an elephant in the room question for anyone except for me because I'm the only one inside my head. And then I'm also like, so anyway, and I'm building it up because then it won't seem so bad, right? Because it's not that bad.
Right.
But it is bad because it's a taboo word. And this is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about you and your journey. So like with the Pretty Kind Campaign podcast, what I want to do is talk to people about these iffy subjects that are like political and uncomfortable and all the things, because like I don't like the discomfort, and I don't think we should be uncomfortable. And I accidentally think I asked you something uncomfortable last week and I didn't even know because I'm completely ignorant, like around how you talked about what you never thought you would go down the path of IVF. And I said, so you said that, so why? And so you gently clued me into that it's sort of a controversial thing, like religion can play a part. And I noticed like you'd mentioned something about science. It must have been in the comments, I was just reading. But anyway, I don't have that. I'm just interested in everybody's experience for what it is. But okay, so I'm going to spit it out. So abortion is the word that comes to mind. And I'm going to just say that word, and I don't want to trigger, I don't want you to be scared and think that I'm asking you to give some sort of stance on abortion, whether or not you think that's right or wrong, or I'm not asking for anything like that. Like, I'm not asking for a political stance, but I wonder how it makes you feel, that idea of that, like, because I feel like there's just so much stuff in life. Like, again, around the podcast, what we're doing is we're sharing just our own experiences so that people can learn and hear something different from their own. So so just when I said that word, what did that do to you? Like, what does that make you feel in your gut? Like, this is Emily from Emily's experience. This is not Emily saying, I think policy should be this or this or this or this. It's not a political conversation. This is just, it's just where my mind goes. So if my mind goes there, I want to ask.
No, I mean, I have a lot of feelings based on my own personal experiences. So technically, if you look in my medical record, I've had an abortion because I had a pregnancy that I had to medically induce. And so, you know, when I think about what's happened in the last year, almost year since things in, you know, in politics have been affected, it really fires me up because that is like a maternal health issue to me. I didn't have an abortion to get rid of a living child. I mentioned it, I think, in the first podcast that we recorded a few weeks ago, that I carried my dead fetus around for almost a month. Like, you can't tell me that I should have to carry that any longer. And it could be very, I mean, I could have had my own health at risk if it continued. And so that's the things that I think about. Like, when I hear about people who are against abortion for whatever reason, again, I'm Catholic. I don't think I would ever abort a living baby. Obviously everyone's situation is differently. Like, have a husband, like, it's something that we want, but there are situations where it's not good. I know someone who found out she had cancer after she found out she was pregnant, and she carried the baby, and she had many risky surgeries because of it. And I don't know if that's what I would have done, you know? And so I don't think it's a black and white issue, is I guess what I'm trying to say, is that I don't think, you know, you can say, like, yeah, it's good for some things and not for others, like, because it means something to everybody. And I don't want somebody to say, again, it's not something that I would do in the way that people think of abortion. And that's the thing, is that the medical terminology doesn't, it matches what is happening, but people don't think about it that way, because I've listened to people and politicians say, like, well, that's not an abortion. And then I can say, well, look at my medical record. Like, I have it in the drawer sitting next to me. Like, it was. And so there's just, it's a very nuanced topic, and it's not black and white. And the same thing goes, you know, and you know, I'm fortunate to live close to a state that has not banned it, but I don't live in a state. I live in a state of fear now because of where I live. And that's scary to me as somebody that had a child die inside of her, you know, and so it is very scary.
So you just, I mean, that was right there because I've been asking myself over and over. I'm like, okay, well, if this isn't a political podcast, then why do I even feel like I need to ask? And I couldn't answer my own question. Why? Because I don't know what I don't know, but all I know is these things pop into my head and I want to be able to talk to people about them because that's the only way we can learn.
Right.
So right there, what you just said, the paperwork, it's coded a certain way, a certain thing happened, they had to extract a baby from your body and that's considered an abortion. I never has that had that crossed my mind, even in all of our conversations, even in me understanding that Hazel had died inside you, you carried her around and then she had to be removed. Never did I make that connection that that's an abortion.
Right.
And so I feel like just saying the words very blatantly like this, like we are right now, is big. Not
Right.
just for me, like for me, like this has been like that was a hard, scary thing to ask, but it's like I had no idea. And you just shined a light on something that here I am open, talk to a lot of people, feel like I know something about maternal health, never crossed my mind
Right.
that. So thank you
You're
for
welcome.
sharing that. And I feel like I could cry. You could probably cry. It's just also sad. Um, I just saw something on Instagram. It was right after I was looking at your topic at the comments to see if anybody had asked a question. And I want to read the slides. I just took a screenshot. I'll share when I link this. I'll share her page. She's somebody that I follow, and she's not somebody that I know very well or follow a lot or see a lot of. But one of my greatest friends follows her. And so that in and of itself means that this person's amazing. But she's at Natlue, which is at Natlue. And so she wrote a book, and this she must be probably promoting her book, but what this says is waiting on someone to do the right thing by you means you're currently waiting for them to stop doing the wrong thing. And that just really hit me. You know, that's kind of like something that I think about all the time, like when I'm arguing with my husband about why he's wrong, and it's not that he's wrong, but simply wrong because he thinks that someone else is wrong, you know. I'm like, so just I want to say it one more time, waiting on someone to do the right thing by you means you're currently waiting for them to stop doing the wrong thing. And so it's tricky because I feel like it's super easy for us to take sides on any polarized topic, like
Right.
but I mean, there's tends to be this box that we put polarized topic in, and that is somebody's having sex, and it's inconvenient for them to have a baby, and so then they're going to end said pregnancy, and so then anyway, and even that's not ours to make decisions
Right.
around,
Right.
but when our brains are just sort of wallowing and dancing around those different, like never has my brain gone into the nook that you just shared.
Right. Well, it's not your life, and it hasn't been your experience. And I felt that way before this happened to me. Like I'm not going to decide what you should do with your life. It may
Mm-hmm.
not be what I do, but I don't want to decide for you.
Right.
Um, and it's just so nuanced, and I mean, we could talk for 500 years about it, but it and until like you really know that, you don't understand that. And like,
Yeah.
you know, just like with the Supreme Court thing, deciding to keep the medication, on the shelves, and it's like, okay, well, I didn't take that medication, but I took a different medication, like, so it's like those are the realities you think about. And I have a friend who lost a pregnancy, and in talking, is like, I don't want to find out that early, but then I have to find out early in case I need to do something about it. And it's beyond a certain week. Like, you basically lose 2 weeks of your pregnancy because they count the date of your last period as the beginning of your pregnancy and you're not even pregnant. So like if you think about it, like 6 weeks pregnant, you've only known that you've been pregnant maybe for 3 weeks, maybe. So it's just like those are just like the things that like I didn't know that until I had a baby. I didn't know that that's how you counted weeks, so it's like this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but that's what, so
Yeah.
it's just scary. I think it's just scary to be a female in those years of reproduction because you don't know what's going to happen.
There's all these people thinking that they do. Yeah, and they can
Right.
make choices and stuff.
Right.
Well, our timer's about to go off. Can you even believe it?
No.
I
I
want
didn't
to,
get the warning yet though, so maybe.
I mean, okay, so just for fun, the follow-up slide that she posted after the one I read is it's orange. The other one was pink, this one's orange. It says, if waiting on someone means not doing the right thing by you, always choose yourself. So things to ponder. I don't know. I like her a lot. And I mentioned maybe we should, I haven't read her book, but I think maybe I want to now.
Yeah.
And I'll link to that. So I think that we have to have a part 4 because we just talked about, yesterday was your first day at this clinic, your first visit at this clinic, right? Because you switched clinics.
I've been there before, but this was like for the first one of the whole, like we're really starting this thing,
Okay. So I think that part 4 is in order because especially you're in the first part of this process and we just asked my elephant in the room questions. There's no more of that. So now we can just sort of, you can share with us more of the process and then some wrap-up questions. So I want to encourage anybody who wants me to ask. They're listening to us talk and they're like, why doesn't she ask this?
Right.
Send me an email. What is my email? The Pretty Kind Campaign at gmail.com. Send me an email or send Emily an email. I don't think we have time to even get into the sunshine bracelet updates. I think you shipped them. I think
I did.
And but I will link up under the YouTube video and in the Instagram thing that I post, and it'll either be to tomorrow or Thursday. More information. So check that out if you're listening to this on the podcast, and I'll link up whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and just say, stay pretty, loving, and kind. And thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Okay, so what a mess. I blame it on I can feel my cramps coming and I can't say words in like an order that makes any kind of sense. And I'm just a hot mess.
I didn't even notice.
Anyway, okay, good.
I have a Crayola Band-Aid on my stomach right now, so you don't even need to worry about it.
Well, so thank you for getting on, and neither of us cried, so that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
so
it's fun.
So what's the rest of your day look like?
It's not raining today, and the only activity I can do is walk. So I'm gonna go for a walk and make dinner maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
It poured for like the last 2 days, so we've been kind of like stuck inside. So I'm gonna it's not that nice out, but at least it's not raining. So
yeah, in a
like
walk.
50 degrees. So it's not too
50?
bad. Yeah.
And humidity.
Maybe a little bit. Not yeah. My hair isn't too crazy, but
that's your
usually
barometer.
like if it's down and it gets wide, then you're like, oh, okay. It's humid today. Good to know.
Awesome. Well, so today's Tuesday. So tomorrow's Wednesday. You work Monday through Friday, is that right?
I do. Yep.
And it's if the kids have a day off, do you have the day off too, or do you still have to go into the office?
I still work.
Yeah.
Unless it's a holiday or like I take a vacation day, then I'm there. So
will you tell me your niece's name that's closer to Graham's age, not the new one, Matt.
Sophia.
So we have a Sophie here,
Okay.
who's 5. And so my brother-in-law has been wintering in Mexico with his,
Oh,
I don't know if it's his partner Christine, and she has a daughter named Sophie. So I heard you say that the other day. It's gonna cut us off any second, so I'm like, I can't say anymore, but I'm gonna just say have a great walk, and
thank
I'll
you.
email you and we'll
Okay,
continue this
perfect.
next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Emily.
bye.
Bye.